Joe's going to use an Oompa Loompa to cuddle with because it makes him happy.
Okay.
Don't mind features used that way, but that's not a way a lot of people use them.
It's true. It's not a way a lot of people use them. That is fair criticism, Earl.
Right. So once I understand for either the stakeholder values what the Oompa Loompa cuddling feature was looking for from my context diagram, what that main transaction is, the next thing I like to build is what I call a product vision. People might give it a different name, but I name that core function. And then for that stakeholder class, I like to take those ilities and put them into one of three buckets. And the three buckets are positive value, negative value, and no value decision. Positive value is saying, when I do this function, what am I judging you by? What am I watching you say, yes, you're doing this better than my alternatives? These are the ones that I'm paying attention to. For Jenny's case, where she was talking about getting photos off her camera into a different device, it could be speed and portability. These are the things that really make a difference to her in solving her problem. Is it small, compact, yet gets them off really quickly and puts them in another place? And then those are the ones who'll judge positive value on. And so the more of it you have, the more they're going to go, yes, I love it. The negative value ones are ones that, as long as you do an okay job, no one's going to judge positive values. So let's say that the color of Jenny's device, right? As long as it's not awful, I don't care. But if you make it butt ugly, I'll give you negative value. So safety, maybe crash protection on a car. Like if I got decent crash protection, I'm not buying a car before it's crash protection. But if you're just going to kill me every time I get a fender bender, I hate you. I will make negative value judgments if you screw it up, but I will not make positive value judgments like if you do better on it. So if you spend a lot of money hitting these negative value areas, I'm not going to spend more money. It's not going to get you the exchange value because it's not that important to me. Only if you screw it up will I be pissed. So I got positive value, things that I'm actually watching to say, is this important of the ilities when I do this function? Negative value, if you screw these up, I'll be pissed, but otherwise investing on here doesn't make a lot of sense. And then there's the third category is like, it's not even on my value radar. I'm not even making a decision one way or another. I love to use the example in class of two different cars, a Rolls-Royce Phantom and a Honda Accord. Maintenance costs on a Honda Accord might be in the lead column, the positive value. The lower you have my maintenance costs, the happier I'm going to be, because this is why I buy a Honda Accord. I don't need to do an oil change for the first 100,000 miles kind of thing, right? Whereas a Rolls-Royce Phantom, the maintenance costs are probably in the, I don't even notice that I have maintenance costs. If I can afford a Rolls-Royce Phantom, a $500 or $2,000 oil change is meaningless to me. I don't care. Right? It's not even something I would make even a negative judgment about. I get them to put them into those three buckets: positive value judgment, negative value judgment, and no value judgment. And that we can start seeing that different classes are going to sort those ilities for the same function differently. And so to Jenny's point, we have to know who we're going to make happy.
Right. Well, it sounds a little bit next level down from what I often think about as a vision, right? Which is something a little more high level, something a little bit like an elevator pitch or a lean canvas that kind of gives you your, who am I competing against and why am I the preferred choice for them over that? So it sounds like you're doing it in a bit more of a finer level of granularity than many people will talk about.
Because it's the same way I write any requirement. I treat it as a requirement. But you could do the same thing with an elevator pitch for who's the customer, right? That's the name of my product. Here's the core function. That. And then here's where I can start talking about those ilities. That is faster. That is cheaper. That is more reliable.
Yeah.
Then my next alternative, right? So you got the same content roughly in the elevator pitch.
I'm actually thinking that it could be complementary, right? The elevator pitch could still be kind of its thing where it gives you the overview, and then yours actually plugs in as a much more concrete value test against which I could throw my features and say, here's how I test it to see. Because one of the things we always talk about with a good vision is it should allow you to say no to things. So I actually think those two things could dovetail pretty nicely as the big picture.
I think you're right. I think it's the elevator pitch will be easier. I do that. I've done that in classes and seen groups working on the same